we got to talk Portugal and Brazil. We're both going to the Brazil game. Fortunately, well, it's funny. I met one of our colleagues, Alexis, who you might know as Mr. Chip on Twitter, and he's talking about how wonderful it is. This World Cup in Doha couldn't be better because all the teams are in one place and you can go and watch multiple games in one day. However, Portugal are playing, and then I think it's 3 hours after they kick off, Brazil are playing. So we're going to have to watch Portugal on television. What's the latest? What is your vibe now in terms of Portugal and of where they are? And let's see if you can answer without mentioning who.
Diogo Jota.
Yeah, no, Diogo Jota is unavailable. Obviously, that's a big loss. Yeah,
I do think he is a loss to Portugal, because I think I've seen a bit of Portugal this year. I saw them in the playoffs, and I think they have got a very good squad. They've got depth at the back. They've got very good defenders. They've got good goalkeepers. I think midfield, people like Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, they are a strong team of depth. But I do think that the one person we're not supposed to mention could actually be their weakness. But I think they have become...
Diogo Jota's absence being problematic for them.
Yeah, in a way that they don't have the other option to carry the load, to share the load of the big man we're not supposed to talk about. Let's get to the point. Cristiano Ronaldo at times... I think he's been Portugal's talisman for 10, 12 years, but he's now, I think he's holding them back. I think if Ronaldo was
10, 12 years? Did you say 10, 12 years?
And the rest, yeah. He's been there.
Yeah, I'd say closer to, he was there Euro 2004.
Yeah, but they had Luis Figo then and people like that. He wasn't carrying the team as, but still, the point is, I think Ronaldo is now more of a hindrance than a help to Portugal, because he isn't the player he was. We know that. And I think if he was to have this last-minute hamstring strain or something, it might actually help Portugal with all their players to actually, play as a team rather than play for him. And I do think when I have seen Portugal as well, I think there's an issue that Fernando Santos hasn't quite addressed, in the sense that Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva don't really work together as a three. And I think if Ronaldo's out of that equation, you get more out of Bruno Fernandes and you get more out of Bernardo Silva.
It's remarkable how you haven't even mentioned the £100 million man, Rafael Leao, in this conversation.
Oh, Rafael Leao, João Felix. There's no shortage of salaries.
All right. My views on João Felix. Until you do it consistently, you can't just be you're not a child anymore. You're 23, sure. 24 years old. I'd have no problem with leaving him out and you use him as some kind of sub off the bench.
It's a great option to have, isn't it? But that's the depth they've got up front. Going for attacking options, they have got very good players that can cost.
Yeah, no, but we can all rattle off players. But the point is, he's almost like a fictional player. He's a guy who cost a lot of money a few years ago, comes on recently. He's had a couple good appearances off the bench. Yeah. But I don't see how you can trust João Felix for the national team, right?
Not at the moment.
To me, when I look at sort of the front four, if you will, my automatic choices are Bernardo Silva and Rafael Leao. Cristiano, if he's fit. And then you see how things shape up around them. And you do have options, like you said. But I could be wrong. I'm imagining Cristiano has been approaching this World Cup, sitting there saying, all right, I want to win this World Cup. Not because I have to prove anything, because as I keep repeating endlessly, I don't have to prove anything. But you know what? Maybe I'll win this World Cup by being different, by making that transition that Zlatan made, for example, by helping my team in different ways, by doing those things that supposedly he would say Erik ten Hag wouldn't do. You could be a decoy in some situations, you help out others. Is that not possible?
Oh, yeah, he will definitely sacrifice himself more for Portugal because of what it means if it's successful at the end of the tournament.
Because the coach respects him and he respects the coach, right?
Because he wants to win the World Cup. I think he wants to, he's done everything else for Portugal. He's won the Euros. Well, obviously he missed the final for most of the final because he was injured. But I think he would sacrifice himself more for Portugal because at United it ended in a certain way. Watching Ronaldo in the last 6 months, the last 12 months even, it's been like watching an Olympic athlete preparing for an Olympics. Everything has been on that November, December, on that period of time. So, he missed the last two games for United before the break with a cold or an illness, and an interview that he had to do with somebody. I don't know if you remember that interview. But, he didn't want to risk himself getting injured just before the World Cup. So it's all been about the World Cup. So to your point, I do think that, yes, we might see Ronaldo's final flourish in Qatar. But I do think, you never know. You can never write him off, can you? He always confounds us, especially with Portugal especially. But I do think that he has shown his age this season and towards the end of last season. So maybe this has come just 12 months too late, this World Cup.
So we haven't even mentioned, of course, Ghana. That is one team that I think is being seriously underestimated by everybody thus far in the World Cup. I want to knock it forward to Brazil. You and I will be at the game at the iconic Lusail Stadium. I think that's what they call themselves, right? Iconic.
Yeah. It's not all those about iconic, is it really?
What, a 3-year-old stadium can't be iconic? Why not? Whatever.
Yeah, 3 months.
We've got Brazil. I don't know if FIFA did this on purpose, obviously not because they had the draw, but it's kind of neat that the team that I think most people have as the favorites, the team that's won it more times than anybody else, Brazil, they play last out of the 32 teams. Yeah. And they do it against a team like Serbia that a lot of people have as potential outsiders with supposedly, theoretically high-powered attack with Vlahovic, Mitrovic, and Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the group and you probably take Serbia to get out of the group because it's Switzerland and Cameroon. I think Switzerland always turn up and, don't really do much apart from get to the second round quarterfinals without actually exciting anybody. So I think Serbia can get out of the group as an outsider for the tournament or to go deep. I'm not sure I'd have Serbia as a dark horse. But Brazil, I mean, it's a tough opening game for Brazil. But I was watching Argentina yesterday thinking Argentina have got this vulnerability in them in the World Cup. They do lose some funny games. Brazil never do. Brazil just don't lose games like this. I mean, obviously the 7-1 against Germany is a freak result, but Brazil don't really have a track record of picking up. They always seem to fly to the group. So I just can't see anything but a comfortable Brazil win tomorrow night. They'll turn it on, I think.
That is a good point. We've had a lot of upsets. Brazil in the past certainly have tended not to be the victim of those upsets, those weird group stage games. I remember when Spain won the World Cup in 2010. Of course, they lost their opener to Switzerland, who you don't like and you don't rate. But there you go. Beat the future world champions.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.